folks, and welcome back to my top 200 games of all time. Well, what games just missed out getting into my top 100? Well, let's find out. At number 110 is a game I've loved for years. It's been in my collection. This year didn't make the top 100, but that's okay because Livingstone, great game. One of the most underrated games I think I've ever seen. I say underrated because I don't hear anyone talking about this game. No one has on their top 100. In fact, a lot of people put it up for sale, and they put it up for sale for pretty cheap. This game has it all. It has dice selection. It has push your luck and grabbing gems. You have cards you can play in the game, and it has some area control that you have at the end of the game when you're placing tents across the area. It also has a player elimination at the very end of the game, similar to Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. Every once in a while when you're gathering coin, you have a choice. You can give it to the queen and put it in your chest for later, which doesn't score you any points, and you need cash. But the more coin you put in there, the person at the end of the game, everyone opens up the treasure chest. Whoever has the least amount of money is out of the game completely. So it almost forces you to live bankrupt, which is not good because you need that money to set tents out, which is where you're going to get a lot of your points. I don't know why this game doesn't get that much love. I really don't. I see this game for cheap all the time and has several of my favorite mechanisms all into one. I mean, sure, you can say, well, it's not that original. It doesn't matter. It borrows from, I think, 3 different games I love, and I think it's just a perfect game because of that. I say this every year, I think, but there's a fun, we still do it today. If you're going to, it's a rule we have, house rule. If you're going to make a donation in a treasure chest, you must announce it by saying, "For the Queen." And you don't even have to put money in there at all. You can pretend you did, just to fake people out. And I've seen other people do that. One time I poured my entire amount of coin in there because I thought this guy, it came to me and this other guy, and this guy basically, you can hide your money under the table, but I thought that he was just dumping his entire savings, so I did. I went bankrupt the last 2 rounds and couldn't afford to pay for nothing, while he went ahead and scored tons of points. Turns out he wasn't putting jack squat in there, and he forgot on the last round to put all his money in there. But at least he fooled me. And there's some aha gotcha moments, and they're like, wait, you put a $10 coin in there? Oh man, I thought you were only putting $1 in there. Oh, I'm so screwed here. There's that great ending where you just don't know who's not going to be counting up their points. I absolutely love that. It's not really player elimination because it happens at the end of the game, but still it's a lot of fun. Check out this game, please, 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 or buy it for $10 from someone, or cheaper. I've seen it even for cheaper at times. Livingstone is a wonderful, wonderful game. At number 109 is Dice Hospital. Dice Hospital, you roll die at the beginning, you put them in these ambulances. If you have the deluxe add-ons, which I do, you have these big chunky ambulances, which aren't really necessary, but they're fun to look at. And you're selecting dice from those ambulances and trying to cure them. 1 is critical, 6, or no, 1 they die, 6 they're healed and they can leave. So you're dealing 2 through 5 and you're trying to heal them. Now, depending on the color, depending on the nurse you have, the colored nurse you have too, and depending on the tiles, the rooms you have, can really help expedite you from helping out these dice and curing all these dice on the game. Really great game. Do I need more nurses? Do I need a bigger hospital? Yes, to all of them. You need both. And sometimes you take the worst off dice because then you get to go first. And then you get to choose, the best of the best there. And you get extra tokens too. Oh man, there's so much to this game. Now, I know why this one did not make my top 100, and that's because the expansion did not come out in time. It was supposed to come out in July, and they delayed it all the way until, I guess, around now. Hopefully by now, by the time you're seeing this video, I will have that expansion and I will definitely play it. But because I didn't have it, that's probably why it fell out of the top 100. I have a big feeling that was one of the reasons, because Dice Hospital is simply fantastic. The new expansion, from what I understand, has a helicopter, big chunky piece that's supposed to have the worst of the worst critical condition people on it. And then it has like little pink die that represent babies. Not really sure how that works because it's been a while since I've looked over the game rules, but I remember being excited about that and learning about that and going, yeah, I need that added to my Dice Hospital. So this is still a great game, maybe a better game when I play the expansion Number 108 is a new game in my collection that was really good and came this close to getting in the top 100, but it didn't. Alma Mater. Alma Mater, you are basically a university and you're trying to get the most prestige. You're selling some of your study books of your color, which is what other players are going to buy from you. That's how you can generate money, because you're also trying to attract students to your university and teachers as well. And so as you're doing that, you do need certain books. And whoever has the most prestige at that time, that's the number one colored book that everyone's going to want. And there are ways for the person trailing behind to catch up, plenty of ways for them to catch up in the game, so there's no runaway leader problem here. But I really love how this game plays. I played this game several times. I did, after my review, I got the little mini expansion I never knew existed called New Students. Absolutely love it because it adds new students. I just said that, but it adds them to the board and gives you just a different variety. I mean, sure, it's the same students just mixed up into different areas where you have to go, but to add some different tile students to do some different abilities, I really like that. Not that you must buy it because it's a little expensive for just a few tiles, but it does enhance the game because I do want to play this a little bit more to make sure I get comfortable on it, or if it's just Culture on the New, it doesn't belong in my top 100. It belongs in my collection, I'll tell you that. I absolutely love that theme. I think it's wonderful. And the little book tokens, oh man, if anything, you should get the game for that. They're so cool. And that's the wonderful thing about it. I think if this were cubes, I would hold off on buying it. It's weird that one production component made the difference for me, but when I saw those books, that was the tipping point for me. I was like, okay, those book tokens are pretty cool. Maybe that's what comes with the game. Okay. And it basically just really gets you into the theme too, because like I said, you're selling those textbooks to other people. And if you have one of the most prestigious universities, or even if you don't, people are always going to need copies of your books, because that's the only way they can get that color book, or most likely the easiest way, and they get a lot of copies of that colored book. So it behooves you to keep putting them on the market. Now, at the very beginning, they can also get victory points for buying the first book from you, but that's besides the point. It is just a great game, folks. If you haven't played Alma Mater yet, you need to check it out. My 108. At number 107 is a card game that came this close to getting in the top 100. In fact, I kind of looked at it again. I was like, if I play it one more time, it may make it. But anyway, Challenge of the Superfriends. Folks, when I bought this game, it was a $10 filler to give me that $100 free shipping. I did not think I would like it. I thought I'd eventually have to throw it away because I don't like card games. And Challenge of the Superfriends, you're going off an old 70s cartoon that I grew up watching as a kid. Who would play that? Well, the answer is my nephews. My nephews love playing. I would bring this out to my gaming group too, but we absolutely love it. You can play as Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Batman and Robin, or Superman, and each one have their own different abilities, and you're playing these cards that give you certain abilities in the game, and or special abilities. You each have special cards too, and you're trying to just get the most points by capturing villains or avoiding really bad negative cards in the game. Now, the game is really based off that old cartoon. It replayed a lot in the 80s, which is why I saw it, but I absolutely have great memories of this game, of the cartoon, excuse me, and I wanted to get the card game because of it. And now I'm super happy I have it. My nephews, I took this over to their house one afternoon. I took a few other games too, and I think we just ended up playing Challenge of the Superfriends over and over and over again because we just had so much fun. It's super easy to learn, but a lot of fun. If you never saw the cartoon, that's okay. Give it a pass and check it out anyway. Check it out anyway, because you may be surprised. It is a fantastic card game. And hey, for a card game to get that close to my top 100, you know it's got to be good. At number 106 is a dice chucking game, Las Vegas. Ooh, I love me some Las Vegas. Very simple. You're chucking die and then taking die of the same pip count and putting it on one of the casinos. Or if you have the expansion, you can put it on a slot machine too, or whatever. And then you keep rolling your dice. And you're trying to win a lot of the houses that have money underneath them that were randomly dealt out. Now again, You do want the expansion Las Vegas Boulevard, which is very expensive here. I don't know if the newest reprint came out with that expansion in it. I really hope it did, because if it did, that's a great thing. But the Las Vegas dice chucking game is a great game. Filler game, or just fun for the family, fun for my gaming group. We all have a blast. Like I said, the expansion adds things like the big dice that can kick out other dice or break ties. It has the special abilities. It has the random money cards, which I really love, because when you play a random money card, it's a guess. When you win it, you're going to pick that top card off the deck. It's a gamble, baby, and you're in Vegas. You got to do this. The game is just so thematic, and even though it's just a bunch of six-sided die, you can basically make this game, I think. It'd be an easy print and play. But the thing is, though, you can get a mass market release, just came out like a year or so ago. Go ahead and pick it up. You will not regret it. Absolutely wonderful game. Came this close to my top 100. Last year, I called this game Cult of the New, and it seems like it's gone down a lot of people's lists in 1 year. And for mine, it went up. It came this close to getting into my top 100. I was shocked. It's Wingspan. Yeah, I told you I was not happy with Wingspan. They kind of short printed it on purpose to make it scarce, to make it popular than it was. And I didn't like that at all. Didn't like those methods that they were at Stonemaier Games was using. But I gotta admit, the game's grown on me over the past year. It's actually moved way up. Came close to getting my top 100. I'll be honest, my entire gaming group would definitely put this in their top 10. No doubt about it. Because of them, they've kind of influenced me to get the expansion. There's the Oceania expansion coming out, or should be out now by the time of this video, and I will definitely be playing it. I love the birds. I love the theme. I love that you are actually learning something about these birds too. I like those learning games because I'm a nerd. But the game's very thematic too, very thematic. That birdhouse dice feeder is really fun to play with. And like I said, you're basically engine building with a bunch of birds on your rows. It's really nice. I blinged out my edition with some upgraded deluxe bits here and there, and I just have had a blast playing it. I got the Geek Bit Deluxe upgrade from BGG. Oh gosh, everything. I think I got some stuff from, I can't remember, it was Broken Token or something, but I've really blinged out this game because, yeah, it is really nice. I gotta admit, it's really fun. And like I said, man, this is probably Cult of the New. This is the highest it'll ever go. I was wrong. It came very close to getting my top 100. So again, another board game I end up being wrong about. Still not good enough for my top 100 yet, but who knows? Maybe after this Oceania expansion, it may just keep going up. Great game, Wingspan. Believe the hype, even though it's not as hyped up as last year. Number 104 is one of the first new games I got at the end of last year while I was making my list. I bought a chunk of games, and this is one of them, and I got it because it was on super duper sale, and that was Tumblin Dice. Oh, good gravy. Tumblin Dice by Eagle Gryphon Games. You're basically just flicking dice down these wooden steps, and you're trying to get it to go as far as you can to get the most points. And of course, the pip number on there can also be multiplied by whatever points it lands on. For years, I thought this was a dumb looking game. I said, who cares? It's a simple, stupid game, and it costs like 80 bucks to get it. And I was like, no, I'm not paying no 80 bucks. Well, they had it for like 60% off on a Black Friday sale last year. And I was like, I gotta get this game. I just had to. And that was my big Black Friday purchase. And when it came in, I still didn't think it was gonna be that much. I said, this may be okay fun. I've lost count of the number of times I have played this game. In only 1 year, I've lost count. It's definitely in my little nephew's top 5 games, I would say. They would all put Tumblin Dice in there. In fact, in the workshop, wood workshop at my one of my nephew's schools, he created his own version. That was his project, was to create the version of Tumblin Dice. So he has his own personal Tumblin Dice board he created at workshop at school. That's really awesome. But that's how much they love this game, and I love this game too. We play different dares and bets. Whoever gets the lowest points has to do something bad or something. It's an incredibly fun game that I can highly recommend, even though the price point is a little bit too high. That's because you're buying real wooden. I mean, that you put that thing together, leather. It's hard wood, man. They didn't go cheap on it. But maybe you can make your own. But Tumbling Dice is awesome. And I mean, like I said at the beginning of the year, I bet it was in my top 100, and just new games just barely pushed it out. Because, like I said, it got so many plays this year that I really don't know. I really have no idea how many times we played it, because it's just such a fun, simple game that you just want to play over and over and over again. Tumbling Dice, my 104. At 103 is Navigator. Boy, Navigator is using a rondel, and you're gathering supplies, building ships, moving those ships out, exploring new lands, settling in those lands, or just keep on exploring. The game will end eventually when you explore the very end, which happens a lot when I play this game. I've always got two people making a race to the end, and they never win. They never win. They think, oh, it's easy to explore. Yeah, but you also want to settle on, grab some colonies on those areas. There's other strategies there that you cannot forget. It is tempting to just keep sending ships out there to grab as much, to discover as many new worlds as you can. But you're going to end the game unceremoniously without you scoring any big victory points. I remember the last game, I think it was a 3-way race out there, and they were hurting on money, and I was not. I was rolling in it by the end of it. There's a market you can manipulate by buying and, basically by selling in that market, then manufacturing it too. If you can manufacture something and also sell it, not in the same round, but whenever you sell a bunch of stuff, then the price goes down and manufacturing goes up. So then you have to manufacture a lot, and then the price will go back up that way. And there's two different price points there. They're just really, really wonderful. Navigator is excellent. I play with all the little mini expansions that come with, I think they come with the game, but it is just a phenomenal game. I know this one also got a reprint last year, so it's more readily available, and I'm happy too, because fantastic game. Just barely missed my top 100. Oh, these next two games hurt because I want to include them in my top 100, but unfortunately 100 games are getting their way, or 101 if you're counting Snowtails. Snowtails is a dog sled racing game where you're playing cards, moving your two dogs around a path. And how you would take curves is you have to have a card that's higher value than the card on the other side. You can only play cards, they're all the same number, so it's not as easy as you'd think. And you're trying to, you can take some sharp turns in this game. And if you play your cards right, a waka waka waka, you can really have an incredible comeback too. I've seen so many comebacks in this game. Someone who's dead last ends up winning the game because two people crashed and the other person had to play it really safe at the end and couldn't go any faster, and you just blew right by them at the end. We've seen some close calls in this. I have Mush Mush, which is Snowtails 2, and I'm probably, even though I love the ceramic houses, the deluxe looking trees and everything, I hate that friggin' board. And someone said, well, Matt, just use the tiles then. Yeah, but then the trees and the ceramic tile houses don't fit on the boards right. It's been a while since I played the sequel or the just remake, but the base game is the one that I've played the most, and boy did we have an epic game. For the first time ever, we combined every tile, even the promo tile, and we had quite a race. I mean, it was loud, it was rambunctious, and we were laughing the whole time, because every time you bump your car, run it to a tree, slam it up against an ice wall, you're going to get a dent card in your hand, and that's going to prevent you from having more cards you can play. And the more dents you have, the less cards you can play in your hand, and your sled can really get out of the game quick. After that first dent, I've seen people totally collapse after that. If you think about it, yeah, you bump that first, you hit that first rough patch of ice, you could definitely spin out of control and just wreck your whole sled. And that's what happens in the game. Folks, get this base game, get the Snowtails game. It is an unbelievable racing game. Deserves to be in my top 100, but unfortunately, there's so many good games. It has to sit outside here at 102. And finally, what game was so good, but not good enough to make the top 100? Kills me. Explorers of the North Sea. Explorer of the North Sea is a straight action point game. I think you have like 5 actions that you're doing across the board: moving Vikings, moving your ship, taking different actions by building buildings or whatnot, and just finding different ways to score points. And there are a million different ways to score points in the game. Basically, you're playing out a tile and then taking out your actions. You play this with the expansion, and it's fantastic to play with because it just enhances the game and makes it better. I finally have a full expansion. The guy who sold it to me sold me incomplete. It was missing pieces, which I was ticked off about, and he didn't seem to care. But now that I have a full expansion to play with now, I absolutely adore this game. And I think for the longest, it would have been in my top 100. And sadly, I guess, it just slipped out with some new games popping in at the very end there. But Explorers in the North Sea by Renegade Games, they make solid games. And as for Viking games, this is one of the best. Maybe not the best, but one of them. So, what's in my top 100? Hey, you know what? Find out next time. See you later.